Host Jake here with my review of Busby's Tactical Storm Blaster. I'm going to go over its features and function and ergonomics. I'll take a look at its performance. I'll give you my feedback on anything that I've found that stood out to me in a good way or a bad way, as well as I'll let you know on how I feel about its value. Now, to start out with, it is a top prime, magazine fed blaster with a removable barrel that is threaded on, as well as a removable stock. Now, the stock is a little too short. That is the main negative with the blaster, but it is very securely on and does come with a rear sling point. Just throw a sling through there and you can hang it over your side. Now, what to go over with on its functions? Very, very simple blaster. Again, top prime, an ambidextrous center mounted mag release point. It's just forward of the trigger. It's actually close enough you could hit it with your trigger finger, or you can grab it with your hand that you're going to use to grab the magazine. It is ambidextrous, so either way. Right hand, left hand, doesn't matter. Now, the trigger pull, very smooth, not too long, not too short. The grip is actually quite comfortable. I have an extra large to double XL size hand, at least when I pick out gloves, and my hand has no issues in using this. The grip is a little on the thin side, but not uncomfortably so. But its thinness does allow it to be comfortable also for kids. So anyone from a child to an adult can feel fine using this blaster. Now again, that stock is too small for me. Size definitely for a kid. But something I have found, when priming it, you can rest the butt end of the stock on your forearm, and it provides a nice secure point with which to prime against. And speaking about the prime is light. And something to talk about with the priming handle. It's easy to grab, it has grooves molded into it, as well as it can be caught. You can catch it with the front of your hand like this. So if you prefer to prime that way. That is something that its competitors don't do. The Retaliator, for example, is easy to actually, especially for kids, they can pinch their fingers in the mechanism. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here is the Nerf Retaliator. The slide is right up here on top. There's no real dominant place to grab it. You just simply have to wrap your hand and grab and pull back and slide forward. Now, if you're not careful, if you keep your finger up here ahead of it, the barrel attachment sticks out farther than the shell. And you can easily pinch your finger here. I know that not because I've done it necessarily that much myself, but because I've watched my 8-year-old do it, and she pinched her finger and it hurts her. So something to keep in mind if you're a parent looking at this. Now if you're an adult, it doesn't make really much of a difference. But it's something worthy to note that if you're looking at picking up one of the two, this one does not have the pinch points that the Retaliator does. For us as adults playing Nerf, it doesn't matter. But, worth mentioning. Now, performance-wise, I'll put you over to my chronograph and let you take a look at this. Now, this packs serious performance. Shooting from the mid-70s all the way up to 90 is no small feat. That is a big jump over the high 60s performance of my Retaliators. Both my Retaliators, the white one that I just showed, as well as behind me I have my highly modified Retaliator, but when it was stock, it was firing at around 68 feet per second. And same story, my white one shoots anywhere from about 66 to 70. And that's normal Nerf Elite performances, around 70 or just slightly under. This shoots all the way up to 90, as you've seen firsthand. That's a big jump in performance. And that's enough to notice. Now, value. This is already, in my opinion, the better form and function blaster. It's smoother. This does work smoother. The priming on the Retaliator can be a little clankety, a little ratchety, whereas this is smooth. Just smooth and quiet. Trigger smooth. Everything on this just works. The Retaliator, I've actually had to do some maintenance on mine because a little bit of gunk on the catch mechanisms of Nerf can make them not catch. That happened with mine. They're both the same age. I've had these both since about March of last year or so. I think I bought the Retaliator in March, and I bought this in about May or June-ish, so it might be a little newer. But in a year, both of them have been around more than a year, I have not had to do anything with this. So value-wise now, more performance, smoother functions, zero maintenance issues, hits harder. It's also significantly cheaper. This retails for $15.99. That retails for $24.99. So compared to its closest competitor, the Tactical Storm is at a great value. Now, is there anything that I would detract against it? Well, two things that I'll mention. They're not great things. I've already mentioned the stock. That's one of them. It's too short for an adult, and because it's not a standardized stock attachment point, you can't just take an aftermarket stock that's meant for the Nerf, say Retaliator or Strife or etc. Worker makes some really nice stocks. Well, they won't go on here unless you're gonna, 3D print an adapter, or if you're gonna epoxy on a Nerf attachment point. But I can live with that. And it would have been nice to see a tactical rail on the side. One side or the other doesn't matter. You don't have to, or they could have put both. Would have been nice. Not a deal breaker. Again, because if you do want the tactical rail, over here to my side, you have the Thermal Hunter and the Interceptor. Those do have the tactical rail. And they come with an adapter. You can mount up Nerf attachments onto them if you want. But this doesn't have it. And it's not, like I said, it's not really a knock against it. It's meant to be the less expensive option. So they stripped away the rails. And they left you with a really well-performing blaster that just works. And there's not much more to say. I think the thing's a great buy at a great price, good performance. Even as an adult, this thing is nice to use. And as a kid, this thing would dominate against. If you bought your kid one of these, they're gonna beat out all their buddies that are playing around with, say, Nerf Strifes or Nerf Retaliators, or heaven forbid somebody's going up against a Tactical Storm with a strong arm. They're gonna get demolished. But this thing is fun for adults and kids alike. I definitely rate this thing extremely highly. I would give it a higher, even higher rating if it did have a longer stock. But for me, I still definitely recommend it because there's very little to argue against it, and it does all things you would ask a blaster to do well. It does. But this is Mongoose Jake with my review of Busby's Tactical Storm. Hope you enjoyed it.